Wow, a lot of crazy stuff happening in the world of politics and finance. We'll start with the Dow. It is down less than 0.25%, while Tesla is up almost 7%. Earlier today, it was up 16%. And that's because Zion decided to play Tesla car salesman on the White House lawn in front of the White House yesterday. And that gave Tesla stocks a boost. Now, I'm not saying that creepy Uncle Joe Biden didn't do the same thing. He did, and he drove around an electric Jeep. It's just all a sideshow. It's a dog and pony show, just like we say, emanating out of Washington's District of Criminals. I made this meme right here because it's just true. One of the biggest welfare recipients, one of the biggest welfare queens and robber barons is Elon Musk. He is not a self-made man by any means. He steals other people's ideas, and he steals the American tax cattle money for SpaceX and Tesla and Neuralink and his other projects. That's why I wrote this or made this meme today. Hop in, we're going to crash the economy, set up the technocratic control grid, and make the Zio banksters even richer. And if you question that, let me just draw your attention to what Grok says about Elon Musk being one of the biggest welfare recipients in the world, let alone in this country. It says Elon Musk companies, primarily Tesla and SpaceX, have received significant U.S. government funding over the years. That's tax cattle funding. The government doesn't give you anything that it first doesn't take away from somebody else. Estimates vary depending on the source and time frame, but as of early 2025, reports suggest his businesses have been awarded at least $38 billion in government contracts, loans, subsidies, and tax credits over the past 2 decades, with nearly 2/3 of that amount pledged in the last 5 years. This figure includes publicly available data and may exclude classified contracts, potentially making that total higher. So I wonder if there are classified contracts. You know how the government works. You know how they like to keep things from you. Jeffrey Epstein client list, eh? But I want to show you this. This is how much of a dog and pony show we're in right now. This is how much of a stage show this is. I mean, Voltaire said, give them bread and circuses, and I guarantee they will never revolt. And that's what Donald Trump and Elon Musk, just like Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, are giving us, bread and circuses. Remember this from July 12th, 2022? Donald Trump said about Elon Musk, when Elon Musk came to the White House asking me for help on all of his many subsidized projects. Now remember, yesterday during the Tesla sales event, the Blue Banner Tesla sales event at the White House, he said that Elon never asked him for anything.
In the time I've known him, he has never asked me for a favor. He didn't ask me for this. He's never asked me for anything. He endorsed me, and he never asked me. I didn't even know he was going to endorse me.
Implying that he's a self-made man. Donald Trump said when he came to the White House asking me for help in all of his many subsidized projects, refer to the Grok link, whether it's electric cars that don't drive long enough, driverless cars that crash, or rocket ships to nowhere, without which subsidies he'd be worthless. And telling me how he was a big Trump fan and a Republican, I could have said drop to your knees and beg, and he would have done it. So is that what we're seeing? The devil's champion dropping to his knees and begging Donald Trump, hey, Donald, could you put me in the center of the 3-ring circus while the crowds are in the stands and give me a shout out? Who's really in control here, and what is the reason for it all? Let me also draw your attention to this. This is kind of a side note right here, but I did want to cover this. This is 58 seconds long, but definitely worth a watch. Republican Representative Keith Shelf referred to Republican Tim McBride, who's a Democrat, as Mr. McBride. This is Mr. McBride right here, and Representative Keating had an absolute meltdown. Check this out.
As the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr. Chairman, could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the standard on the floor of the House.
Wait, you know what? I didn't even get this. When Shelf referred to McBride as Mr. McBride, McBride said, "Thank you, Madam Chairman," back to Keith Shelf. I didn't even catch that the first time. Listen to this.
As the representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also wonderful.
Mr.
I'm
Chairman,
sorry.
could you repeat your introduction again, please?
Yes, we have set the
Representative.
standard on the floor of the House, and I'm simply.
What is that standard, Mr. Chairman?
The
Would you
standard-
repeat what you just said when
I-
you introduced a duly elected representative from the United States of America? Please.
I will. The representative from Delaware, Mr. McBride.
Mr. Chairman, you are out of order. Mr. Chairman, have you no decency? I
We
mean,
will-
I've come to know you a little bit, but this is not decent.
We will continue this
You
hearing.
will not continue it with me unless you introduce a duly elected representative the right way.
This hearing is adjourned.
That's crazy because I didn't even notice it the first time that McBride called Keith Shelf Madam Chairman. That's so interesting.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Ranking Member Keating, also
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Keating only has a problem with what Shelf said and didn't have a problem with what McBride said. That was really, really interesting. Also, let me show you what Fox News' Peter Doocy said yesterday, is it sounds like he's a little irritated that the stock market ain't going up under Trump and 401ks are in jeopardy.
And we also expect the White House to try to reassure folks who are sitting there looking at their 401ks going down and down and down. This is a White House that came in trying to get federal workers to retire by the hundreds of thousands, but it's tough to make the argument that you should retire if your retirement accounts are getting throttled, which is what is happening right now. So we hope for answers to all of these curiosities any minute.
You really can't object to that logic right there. He's kind of pushing the envelope, if you know what I mean. Remember, even Trump makes the point that the reason he won the election is because he campaigned on bringing grocery prices down, which he hasn't done yet.
I won on two things, the border, and more than immigration. You know, they like to say immigration. I break it down more to the border, but I won on the border and I won on groceries. It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries. When you buy apples, when you buy bacon, when you buy eggs, they would double and triple the price over a short period of time. And I won an election based on that. We're going to bring those prices way down.
Yeah, who uses the word groceries? Well, nobody, just us common folk, us peasants, Donald.
It's a very simple word, groceries. Like almost, who uses the word? I started using the word, the groceries.
Who uses that word anymore? I started using the word. The word is groceries. Groceries. I use the word groceries, and I've campaigned on bringing your grocery prices down, which they haven't come down. And as for your 401k and your stock market investments, we can see that the Dow Jones Industrial Average and the S&P 500 are below what they were on November 4th, a day before Trump was selected to become president. You can see exactly what happened from November 4th to November 5th, all the way to November 11th. There was great exuberance. People were riding on hopium, expecting the economy to be better under Trump. And then when Trump gets into office, not 50 days into office, it's already below the November starting point by about 500 points. Now let's turn our attention to White House Press Secretary Carolyn Leavitt, who fields a question from an AP reporter about the trade war that we currently have between America and Canada. Listen to this crazy answer.
Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people, and the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
That's
They
it.
don't get charged on foreign companies. They get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics and the decisions that this president has made. I'm now regret giving a question to the Associated Press. This is
Now, she regrets giving that question to the Associated Press because she doesn't have the answers on what tariffs actually do. The importer tariff nation passes along all of that money. The people who pay for it are the people in the import country. And who are those people? The end user, the consumer. Like this dairy tariff that Canada has on American imports of dairy products. They literally pay $7 or $8 a gallon milk. I know they don't buy it by the gallon, it's like by the liter, but it comes out to about $7 or $8 a gallon, whereas we're paying $3 or $4. Now, one of those reasons is because of the high 250 to 390% import tariff, which the government doesn't pay for, because the government can't give money, the government can't issue money unless they first steal the money from the pockets of their own people. So it's the Canadian people who suffer with these import tariffs. Likewise, if we put a tariff on China or we put an import tariff on Mexico or on Canada, guess who pays that? Not the US government, the people that are being plundered by the US government. And the reason Carolyn Levitt got upset about this is because, number one, she's either ignorant about how import-export tariffs actually work, or she knows how they work and she hates the fact that the person from the AP made her look bad in the position of White House press secretary. Now, here's a really good question, again by Fox's Peter Doocy, but I feel like he asked the question that Carolyn Levitt already knew he was going to ask, and she already had an answer formulated. And notice she doesn't really get butthurt about Peter Doocy from Fox News, because Fox is in the business of insulating their audience from any legitimate criticism against the Trump administration.
Is there any concern here that it's going to be harder to ask certain federal workers to retire if they look at their retirement accounts and they're getting robbed every day?
Well, I'm glad you brought up workers, because that's exactly who President Trump is looking out for with his America First trade policy and his America First economic agenda.
But their accounts are being decimated, Carolyn. Their 401ks are being robbed, Carolyn. Because remember, when you have a diminishing account here and an increasing account here, you have an actual transfer of wealth. The money doesn't just disappear from your account. It goes into the account of somebody else. There's two sides to every trade. If this guy loses, then this guy or some other people won. That money doesn't just evaporate into thin air. People need to understand this. When you see the stock market going up or it's going down, there's a massive wealth accumulation and redistribution that's actually going on. And the spearheads of that are usually government officials who set policies and let their buddies know what the policies are going to be and the direction the market's going to go before they publicize those policies.
And if you look at, there's great indication to be optimistic about where the economy stands. And the American people, investors, CEOs, small business owners, but most importantly, workers, should bet on President Trump, because his tariff policies, what he envisions is reciprocity, fair trade practices where American workers are put first and are no longer ripped off by foreign countries all over this world.
Tariffs are an interruption and an interference in the free market. It's the government spending money or withholding money that the free market would not spend on or withhold from. The free market just lets people engage in mutually beneficial business transactions, and it doesn't matter where those people are on the planet. A human being who wants to trade with another human being in Mexico, China, or Canada should be free, because that's what the free market is, to trade with those people wherever they are, whenever they want. But the American government or the Chinese government or the Canadian government or the Mexican government gets involved and says, no, you know what? We're going to get in between the arrangement that you have with these people over here, and we're going to impose a tariff, a tax on those goods that are coming in or those goods that are going out. And who pays for those taxes? Again, the American government doesn't pay for those. The Chinese government doesn't pay for those. The people of China or the people of America or the people of Canada pay for those. And it's high time for people to understand this and take a stand against their psychopathic, megalomaniacal politicians in government. Leave your thoughts about this for the world and the global thought police in the comment section below. If you haven't done so already, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share it with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. Follow me on X at highimpactflix. Follow me on Rumble at highimpactflixofficial, and follow me on Facebook at highimpactflix, and on my police accountability channel called Here's the Deal. And I will see you in the next video.